There's bargains to be found on your British high street and not just in your friendly game store. So join me today as I give you 5 tips to finding the best bargains in charity shops. Do join me today as I'm heading into my local high street. Now, like many towns in Britain, my high street has lots of things called charity shops. They're similar to thrift stores in America. They sell things that are donated by members of the public, and any profit made goes to charity. It's good for the people who donate as they're clearing their shelves of things they don't necessarily want, they're clearing their homes. It's good for the charity, they're getting a little bit of money. And it's good for the people who are buying things, because often you can pick up things in there for a fraction of the price you would pay at a designated shop or a dedicated website. Now obviously, unlike conventional shops, charity shops don't have set stock. They sell what's being donated. So you've got no idea what you're going to find each time you head into a charity shop. But fear not, it's not going to be a fruitless search. I'm going to give you some advice and some tips to help you find the best board game bargains. Now, when you're looking for bargains in charity shops, persistence is key. They've got no idea what's going to be coming in, and nor do you. So the more you go in there, the more likely you are to find a bargain. If the bargains come in and you're not in there, someone else is going to snag it. Now, another suggestion is just be nice. People who work there love a conversation, so if you're friendly to them, they're more likely to go, oh, we haven't got any board games in here, we've got some out the back. And if you get on really well with them, give them your number, because then when board games come in, who are they going to call? That friendly fella who chatted. Now, another good tip would be to think outside the box. Now, you might be looking for a hardcore strategy game, but all you're finding in charity shops is children's games and party games, but that doesn't necessarily mean you've not found anything good. Often it's going to include a lot of components you could use in maybe print and play games, many counters, dice. All these things would cost money if you were to buy them individually, but you can get them for nearly pennies if you're buying them in a charity shop. We're not all board game experts, and that goes for charity shop workers too. They might have unearthed a game that they've got no idea what it is. Where do they put it in the charity shop? Do they put it in the children's games? Do they put it amongst the videos and the DVDs? It's always worth scouting around the entire store to see if you can find that hidden gem buried in some unexpected places. Now, while you're on a charity store hunt, you may want to include discount stores in your search. We found you can find discounted board games in many shops like The Entertainer, The Works. We've even found bargains in Pound World that we play on a regular rotation. So today on my shopping trip I have been unsuccessful, but to be honest that's going to happen 95% of the time. But I can rest easy knowing that there's nothing in these shops that I would have missed if I hadn't left the house today. But that's not to say I haven't been successful in the past. So let's head back and we can have a look at the best bargains I picked up in charity and discount shops on my hunt around the British towns. So I have been very lucky with my finds across charity shops and discount shops. So this is probably 90% of the things I've found. There's some other games that I've bought that I've since donated to a local board game club because they weren't really to our taste. One game is Penny Arcade Deck Builder, which I paid £7 for. But we played it, it wasn't really our kind of humour, we didn't really engage with the game. We've got lots of deck builders already. So I gave that away, but what was good about that is that had every card in there sleeved. And I think there's 300 cards in that. So essentially I got 300 card sleeves for £7, which in itself is a bargain. So it's always worth kind of thinking about what's in the box, as well as obviously what the game is. And while we're talking about that, you do have to roll the dice relatively literally when you are buying games second hand, because there's a chance not all the components are going to be in there. It's just kind of the risk you take. However, at the end of the day, if you do buy something from a charity shop and it is incomplete, you can either use the bits you've got in there and use them for other games, Or if it's completely useless and you can't play it, you've still donated money to charity, so you're still a bit of a winner. So let's go through some of the things I have here. On this side is everything I've found in a charity shop, and on this is everything I found in a discount shop. So let's start off with the charity shop things. Now, obviously the best thing I ever bought in a charity shop was Pandemic. Now, we all know Pandemic. It's kind of a modern classic. I got that one for £2. All of the cubes are in there, all of the cards are in there. Unfortunately, because if there was less Epidemic cards, it might make the game slightly easier. But yeah, everything is in there. So that's the best find I've ever got, because not only is it a bargain at £2, it's also obviously one of my most favourite games. A lot of the others I kind of just was taking risks with. All of these are in great condition. I have in the past seen some games in charity shops that kind of interested me, but they weren't in particularly great condition. So I left that. Maybe someone else was going to be more attracted to it, but I do like tidy, neat boxes as well as bargain. I'm a bit picky when it comes to charity shops, and there's no reason you shouldn't be, because you are still spending money. So if you see a game in there you think, oh, that's a bit expensive, or indeed I can get that cheaper online, just leave it. It's not a problem. No one's forcing you to buy anything in there, and it's always a bit of a false economy if you end up buying something that's more expensive in the charity shop just so your search has been fruitful. That never really works out. Some other games I've got here. Obviously, party games you might have seen. Party games are quite common in charity shops. People get these games for Christmas or for birthdays, and then they realise it's not their cup of tea, and they just give it away. So often you'll see, sort of in January, February time of year, a lot of bounty of things in charity shops, and that's pretty much because people have been given them for Christmas, often by people who want their friends to be involved in board games, and the people who've got them just go, oh, brilliant, thanks, yeah, we'll play that one day, and then give it straight to a charity shop. So the start of the year is often the time to get the best kind of quality stuff, because it's never been played with. So some party games I've got was Accentuate, which is £3. There's a game down here called Bucket of Doom, which is a kind of silly party game. Cards Against Humanity, obviously everyone knows, and that is obviously a very Marmite game. Some people can't stand it, others find it really fun. Chameleon is a very good party game. I do like Chameleon. It's a kind of hidden word game where one person doesn't know the word and has to bluff what they think the theme is, whereas everyone else does know, and they have to guess who the traitor amongst them is, who the chameleon is. It's a party game that works really well, very similar to kind of Spyfall in its mechanics. Scotland Yard is a bit of a classic. I really enjoyed Scotland Yard. It's kind of a hidden movement game. If you played Mind Management, which recently been very, very popular, you can see the roots of that game in Scotland Yard. And we played that a few times, really liked it, and even if you only play it once and you've paid, less than £5 for it, that's still money well spent if you've enjoyed those couple of hours you've had with the game. What other bits do we have here? Munchkin and Homeland I'm kind of lumping together because they are both games that only work really with 3 players. As a result, we've not played Homeland at all yet, despite the fact I've had that a couple of years. And similarly, Munchkin, we've suggested it a few times at board game clubs and no one's really been in the mood to play it. So we haven't actually played our copy of Munchkin or Homeland yet. Munchkin was £3 again. Homeland was £2. And Homeland is actually a really good game, based on a very good TV show, admittedly, but that puts people off. So it's worth doing some research when you do see these games. Get your phone out, have a quick look on BGG and just look at the feedback for kind of licensed games, because often they might be a lot better than you anticipate. People kind of have a distrust of IP games, thinking a lot of the money's been spent on acquiring the IP and the game itself isn't very good. But that isn't always the case. You've got a lot of games that are based on IP. Get Battlestar Galactica, for example, is a fantastic game, but you might see that in a charity shop and go, oh, I don't really want that based on that science fiction show I've never seen. If you see it in a charity shop, grab it. And well, on that subject, I don't really see a problem with someone buying a game in a charity shop that they already own simply to kind of sell on. The charity shops will charge what they think they can get for the game. Now, some charity shops will, of course, look on eBay and go, oh, this game's worth a fortune, I'll charge a fortune for it. And those games, unfortunately, don't sell, which isn't great for the charity. But if the charity shop has priced a game, that's what they want for it. So if you see Battlestar Galactica in there for £5 and you buy it and then you sell it on eBay for £50, I mean, the charity shop has £5, you've obviously got a lot of profit. And if you feel kind of guilty about it, you could just tell the charity shop you think it's worth a lot more and offer just to give them a donation. They're not going to say no. So if you do feel uncomfortable seeing a game that's worth a lot more in a charity shop, just give them some more money. And everyone's a winner. So some other games we've got here. Bugs in the Kitchen is a great kind of children's game. It's actually really fun, as is Tetris Jenga. That I got those to play with children. And at the same time I bought Tetris Jenga, I also got Apples to Apples, which is a very fun party game. But the problem with that one is the version that I picked up was actually really American, and we couldn't really understand all the cultural references or the associations with that being British. So when we tried to play it, we didn't really have the frame of reference for a lot of the cards in the game, so that didn't really work for us. Got over there Mancala, which Libby actually picked up for, I think it was £1 or something, the classic kind of stone placing game. I mean, I've got some Colt Express cards here I got for sort of 50p. They're still shrink wrapped because we've never used them. That we've got our own copy of Colt Express. I think I just bought this kind of as spares. They were 50p and I like Colt Express. And we have Valiant Universe here, which I got for £7. It's a miniatures game, and unfortunately it's kind of frustratingly bad. It should be a good game, and I think the reason we haven't played it more than once is because the rulebook is absolutely diabolical. We've both read it, both interpreted the game completely differently, and it was a very, very frustrating experience playing it, and it should be good. It's got some great miniatures in here. It's got a nice idea with a shifting kind of card-based board, but we just don't know how to play it. And obviously that's not because we don't know how to play board games. We play a lot of board games. We just can't understand it from the rulebook. So I think what we're going to have to do is come up with some house rules. I've just recently actually discovered there's some alternative rules on YouTube. So perhaps we need to give this another go. That was actually one of the most expensive purchases I've ever done in a charity shop. That was £7, which again, bearing in mind this sales for £45 on in shops, bargain. But I can see why someone donated it. If you don't put the effort into working out how to play it, it's terrible, but it could be good. Maui is a game I play a lot of. You go around picking up cards with a view to building your own islands on a board, similar in a way to kind of Carcassonne. And this was really cheap. That's £3. I bought it at the same time as I bought Munchkin, actually, in the same shop. Also hidden away down here is a Back to the Future card game. Now I've got, I think, every Back to the Future board game, card game, dice game you can get, with the exception of kind of those roll and move ones that came out at the time the film came out. Which are just like kind of Snakes and Ladders-esque games, so I don't really want those. I mean, who am I kidding? If I see that cheap, I'm going to buy that. I just don't really want to spend a fortune on a game just for the sake of saying we've got every Back to the Future game ever. But this card game is actually quite good, based on Flux and Chrononauts. So that kind of game, worth £1. There's £1. And that's one of the ones where the excitement of going into charity shops, you feel a kind of heart racing when you see a bargain. And you grab it immediately and you kind of clutch it and cradle it as you walk around the store, hoping no one's going to take it out of your hand or something. But yeah, very, very excited to find that for £1. So of all of the charity shop things I bought, obviously Pandemic was the best bargain, or perhaps Valiant Universe if we can ever get it to work properly, as well as Maui. Actually, you know, I'm pleased with all of these. If I wasn't pleased with them, I would have donated them, I would have given them away. But they're still in our collection, so obviously I do like them. So that was the charity shop games. Next we'll have a look at all the discount store games that I got. So these are places where they get hold of stock and they sell them relatively cheap. So the Works is a great one for this. We often go into the Works quite regularly. So games I got in the Works was actually Sabotage, Planet Defenders, which is a really fun. I really like Planet Defenders. You move robots around a grid, kind of in a programming style, to kind of rescue robots from space. It's actually really fun. It sounds ridiculous. Amazing minis actually in that one. So I like both of those. And Castles of Caladale. In this game, you're kind of building a castle in a tree. All of those I bought at the same time, all for £10. So what's that work out? It's like £3.33 for each game, which considering the quality of them is actually an incredible bargain. Other games I've also got in the works was Byzance, which is kind of a card game. Much like Homelands over there, it's 3 people to play. So because there's only been 2 of us for recently, we've not really had a chance to play that actually yet. But it looks nice. It looks like a good, and it's had good reviews generally. So worth, I think that was £4 I picked that up for. And I also got Choreo, which is a really good kind of card duel game. Similar, I suppose, to like Love Letter in that each card has got a number and you've got to choose which one you play, but it's competitive. And we've actually played that quite a lot. A game that's kind of hidden over there is actually 5 Minute Marvel, which I picked up for £5. So £5 for 5 Minute Marvel, an absolute bargain really. It's you're kind of laying cards down to defeat Marvel villains, and you're using an app to keep track of your progress. And obviously, because you've got to do it in 5 minutes, it gets really stressful and really quite intense. Actually, lots of fun and a great buy for £5. Yeah, we need to play that again. Just talking about it makes me want to play it again. And a game we've mentioned a few times on this channel is Fluff. It's Liar's Dice, basically. You're each rolling dice in your own cup, and you've got to declare how many of a certain face number you think is amongst the collective group. So obviously you only know yours. You have to kind of remember or guess what everyone else has, and if you get called out on being a liar or calling a fluff, you lose one of your dice. And it's a game we've actually played an awful lot of. For Christmas, it's actually probably the game we played most. In fact, I think of every game here, with the exception of maybe Pandemic, Fluff is the one we've played the most of. Similarly, Flanks was also in Pound World. So that was also, unsurprisingly, £1. And it's not as good as Fluff, but it's a tile placement game worth £1. I think most games are going to be worth £1, aren't they? If you just think about how a game lasts half an hour, compare it to like a trip bowling or a trip to the cinema, that's money well spent really. So while today wasn't successful at charity shops, obviously I have been successful in the past, and all of these I bought in the last 3 years. So I actually work in London, and so I'm quite fortunate that there's lots of charity shops around the vicinity of where I work. And so what I can do is during lunchtime is I can just kind of have a screen break, head out and just go to the charity shops. And I think what you end up doing is, if you're used to going to the same charity shops over and over again, you actually work out a kind of route through the charity shops, go directly to the board games, do not pass the CDs, the DVDs, do not collect 200. And you find you kind of maximise your time in there. And one of the tips I gave obviously was, if you're friendly with these people, they end up knowing you quite well. So often I've gone in them and they're like, oh, you're looking for board games? Yeah, we haven't got any new ones. And then I can pretty much leave straight away, make an extra donation if I need to. But yeah, it just streamlines the whole process. It means I can kind of get through 5 or 6 charity shops in a lunch break. But anyway, share your tips. What tips do you have about finding bargain games on the high street? Maybe there's something I've not considered. Do let me know. Put something in the comments to steer me in a better direction, to give me better advice on how I can get more bang for my buck. If you've enjoyed this video and you've just stumbled across it by accident, please subscribe to our channel. We do lots of varied content about all sorts of things, obviously all board game related. And like this video, or indeed dislike it if you're jealous of all the bargains I've got. But either way, thank you so much for watching.